Don from BlackToad Studios, and today we have got a special guest. We've got Commissar Warrick has come down to play a game of 40k Blood Angels versus the Word Bearers. If you haven't seen Commissar Warrick's channel, please, I'll put a link below, go check him out. He was the first YouTuber that invited us up for a collaboration game, and we played a couple of times since then, so go check him out, guys. This is going to be a very fun game. Right, so here we are. We have got Blood Angels, 2,000 points of Blood Angels. Warrick, do you want to go through what you've got here, starting from the right?
Sure thing. So what we've got here is, this is a sort of a vanguard detachment, I think it's called, a sort of the elite detachment, and it's led by Lamartis, who's a Death Company chaplain, basically. Death Company chaplains aren't a thing anymore, but yeah, Lamartis is. And then we've got 3 squads of Death Company. Every single one of them has a jump pack. And then in 2 of the squads, we've got Thunderhammer, and a Power Fist in one.
Nice.
So 3 squads of 10 and a special weapon, you know, heavy weapon in each, you know.
Yeah, very intimidating.
And then, so that's one detachment. And then the other thing, we've got a battalion detachment.
Yep.
And that's led by the Sanguinor. And the Sanguinor is my Warlord. And Warlord trait, I'm just going to give him the one that gives him an extra attack, because that's cool.
Why not?
And then 2 other chaplains with jump packs, and the blonde guy on the right, he's got an Inferno pistol. It's like a little melter pistol.
Very nice.
Which melters on is good anymore, because you can't one-shot things, but at the same time it's like 20 points, so why not? Yeah. And then we've got 5 troop choices.
Right, okay, so we've got scouts here.
Yeah, scouts. All of them have camo cloaks, all of them have sniper rifles.
Very nice.
And then we've got 5 scouts with no upgrades at all, just close combat weapons.
Yep.
Then we've got 3 tactical squads.
Right, okay.
And we've got, first one, we've got 10-man squads, plasma pistol on the sergeant, plasma cannon on the heavy weapon dude, and a plasma gun on that fella there. Very nice. And the next one is your classic tactical squad, which is 10-man, missile launcher, flamer. Yep. No other upgrades, the vintage.
Yeah,
the old
standard.
School. And then our last tactical squad at the back, we've just got a missile launcher in there, nothing else.
Nice, okay.
And then the only other thing is, that's your troop choices. Rounding off the battalion, we've got Devastators. There's 8 men in there, and we've got 4 las cannons. Lovely.
So you've got 2 detachments here. So in total, it's 7 command points?
Yeah, so 3 for being battle forged.
Yep.
3 for the battalion detachment.
Yep.
And then 1, because it's I'm pretty sure it's got a Vanguard detachment.
I think it is Vanguard, yeah.
But it's the one where you get, it's 3 elites.
And 1 HQ.
It's like 1 to however many.
Yeah, nice. Right, okay, very nice. Let's have a look at the Chaos Forces today. Right, so here we are. We've got 2,000 points of Word Bearers here. So similar to the Blood Angels, as in we've got 2 detachments here. So over here on the left, we've got an Outrider detachment with 3 squads of Raptors. All 3 squads are 2 melter guns and just a standard champion. We've also got a squad of Warp Talons here. And we have got the Vulture, the Chaos Lord with Crozius and a plasma pistol, as well as his jump pack there. Over here we have got the Brigade of Chaos Lord, a HQ choice with 2 Lightning Claws, 5 Terminators, a bit of a mix match of weapons here. So we've got a Chain Fist, we've got a Reaper Autocannon, a few Power Fists and a Power Axe. We've got 10 Havocs as a heavy choice with 4 Plasma Guns and a Combi Plasma on the champion. We have got a Mauler Fiend with Magma Cutters. We have got 4 squads of 15 cultists with a mixed match of weapons. We've got auto guns at the front here and 2 squads of combat weapons. We've got Dark Apostle there. And at the back here, we have got 2 Helldrakes with Bale Flamers. And similar to Warrick, we've also got 7 command points through having 3 through this detachment, 3 through Battle Forged, and 1 over here. We're using the Word Bearer Warlord trait on the Vulture here, which is an extension of his aura ability by 3 inches, I believe. So let's have a look at the mission and the battlefield. Right, okay, so today's mission, we have got Retrieval, which is basically 4 objectives on the board, and we are fighting in quarters with like a 9-inch bubble in the centre here of a no man's land, which is represented by the circle of dice. So the 4 objectives, let's go through them here. We've got one here, right in the middle. We've got one over here in the crater. Moving across, we have got one down here in the ruins. And finally, we got one over here in the jungle there. So we have got the Blood Angels will be deploying over in this quarter here. So like I said, there's a little bit of an indent where Blood Angels can't deploy. And over here, and over on this side, this will be where the word bearers will be deploying. We have decided that this is in fact area terrain there. The word bearers will be putting a unit down first, and we will come back and have a look to see what deployment is looking like. Right, so over here we've got the Blood Angel deployment. The word bearers are deploying units first as we set up the last objective. But so we've got a squad of 5 scouts out on the fringes of the battlefield, eyeing up the Chaos Forces, which are going to be ripping towards them. Down here we've got 3 squads of tactical marines there, and we've got the Devastators here, also putting some shots probably towards the Maulafine there to do some serious damage to them. So quite a few targets, but of course the Maulafine's quite a big threat. Over here we've got some scouts lurking around, probably going to jump out onto that objective there. And I think I've got 3 squads of Death Company in reserve, a few chaplains and the Sanguinor. Alright, moving over to the Chaos deployment. Across here we've got the 10 Havocs sitting on the edge here, possibly going to push forwards. We've got a big chunky middle of cultists kind of spread out. We've got the Dark Apostle there keeping order in the centre. Got the Maulafine there, and at the back at the moment we've got 2 Helldrakes. In reserve we got all of the Outrider detachments. We've got the Terminators and Terminator Lord in reserve. So currently the Blood Angels will be going first, unless of course the word bearers can seize on a 6. So here we go. No. So over to turn 1 for the Blood Angels. Turn 1 movement for the Blood Angels, and the Sanguinor and a squad of Death Company have come down into this building here, cutting off any avenue of advance.
There's the chaplain with them as well.
Oh, and the chaplain as well, yeah, just behind the Sanguinor there. Cut off any kind of advance opportunities for the Havocs here, and most probably trying to engage them in combat. But also in the back corner here, there was a nice big area, and 2 more squads have come in here. Probably going to charge these the Helldrakes there. So they come in the rear field, they're trying to cut off this advance. Bit of a shuffle round here for that squad, and the scouts behind that building have just moved round slightly as well. So they're getting a bit of cover. But that's the movement phase, so very aggressive from the get-go from the Blood Angels. Wouldn't expect anything less. Let's move on to shooting to see what they're going to be doing. Turn 1, shooting for the Blood Angels. And the Maulafine here came under fire from the Devastators, from a missile launcher, from a plasma cannon at the rear, and from the missile launcher there. All kind of fired in, did a couple of wounds, but he's still holding strong there. The cultist squad at the front here, they took some damage from bolter fire and snipers. So the Marines here fired bolters in. One of the Devastators was in range and fired his bolt gun. In fact, one Devastator with the bolt gun was the first guy to fire and killed off a cultist. So he signalled the beginning. And over here, these 5 scouts as well fired sniper rifles down into the cultists and didn't do anything. I think did 1 wound, but the cultist, his t-shirt somehow protected him. Also, what happened? Death Company here fired bolt pistols in, it caused 3 wounds, but the Chaos Marines were able to save. And back here, similar again, both squads fired at the Helldrakes that are about to assault and didn't do anything. But as I was saying to Warrick, it's a bit rude not to. So we're going to move on to assault for turn 1, and yeah, it's going to get brutal. Turn 1 assault for the Blood Angels. Right, so we started over here. Death Company attempted to charge in, and took a volley of fire from Overwatch, but they were pretty safe. And they then failed their charge distance. The Sanguinaut stepped up and tried to do the honourable thing. The Havoc Marines then switched their plasma guns to overcharge and fired again and knocked the Sanguinaut down to 3 wounds here. So he's taking some damage, he's probably a little bit miffed, and these guys are going to be charging in next turn without a doubt. Over here, a bit of a mixed bag. This squad attempted to charge, failed, and I think they lost 1 to Overwatch from the Helldrake. Over here, the squad made it in. They lost 2 to Overwatch, I think, originally. No, they lost 1.
And around, the other one lost 2.
They lost 2 and failed. These guys lost 1 and made it in and knocked the Helldrake down to 6 wounds. So he took a lot of damage. He tried to fight back, unable to do anything to Death Company though. So that was it. Across doing morale checks, the cultists suffered even more casualties, lowering the squad down to 7. From the original 15, so taking some heavy damage. We're going to move on now to turn 1 for Chaos and see if they can push back the tide of Blood Angels. Turn 1 movement for the Word Bearers, and reinforcements have come in. The Warp Talons here with the Vulture have come in behind the Sanguinaut and the Death Company here, hoping to get them by surprise. The Havocs, possibly seeing the Warp Talons turn up, they've straightened themselves up and they're going to put another volley in to hopefully lower the number down a bit. In the centre, the Dark Apostles leading the cultists straight into the centre. Cultists are naturally listening because I think it's a great idea. Over here, Mauler Fiend charging up the right flank just to try and get out of the firing arcs of the heavy weapons. Not sure he's really going to succeed, but it's better than standing there. Cultists have turned round to support the Helldrake, which was here. He's now flown off, and these guys are going to put in their auto pistols into the Death Company there also, just to try and thin them out slightly if anything happens. This Helldrake has flown through the centre, targeting the scouts up here. There's going to be a rain of fire moment, possibly. We will see. Over on this flank, the Chaos Lord and Terminators have come in behind the Blood Angels, trying to mimic what the Death Company have done and target the centre here. They're also joined by another squad of Raptors. So in reserve, we've still got 2 squads of Raptors. Just keeping them in there, just see how it all goes. So let's move on to turn 1, shooting for Chaos. Turn 1, shooting for the Word Bearers. So this squad here unleashed a volley of shots. We caused 6 wounds with the plasma fire. He failed all 6, but then the Feel No Pain kicked in, and 3 Feel No Pains and a 6 up saved majority of Death Company there. So a few died here. Over in the centre, bit of firing from the hip from the cultists as they come charging in and killed off one of the Marines there. On the backfield here, the cultists fired their auto pistols, their little Uzis, and killed off another one there. Moving across, we've got the Terminators and the Raptors in the backfield over here. They fired everything they had, but the gods were definitely against them, and not a single Marine has a chip on their armour. So, oh, and finally, the Helldrake here came in and incinerated one of the scouts, and that was about it. So we're going to move on to Assault turn 1 for the Chaos, and hopefully we can get into combat with a few of these Blood Angels. Turn 1 Assault for the Word Bearers, and as you can see over here, we had some failed charges. We didn't take any casualties to Overwatch, but at the same time, we're here, they're there. It didn't work out very well. Moving across the battlefield, the Warp Talons though, they charged in and cut apart the Death Company. One fell though to a chainsword, and he's now gone. These guys also attempted to charge against the Death Company but failed. And across the battlefield, the squad of cultists charged in, suffered pretty heavy casualties. I think we lost 7 through general combat, and then a couple more fell to morale checks, and only one of the Death Company fell. But they're currently locked in, so that's something, isn't it, really? We're going to move on to turn 2 turn 2 for Blood Angels, and let's see what they can do to us. Turn 2 movement for the Blood Angels, and the Death Company here have jumped over. They're in the marsh ground at the moment, but they're heading towards the cultists and heading towards the centre to claim some glory for Baal. Over here, Sanguinor and the Chaplain have jumped over the Warp Talons, probably coming in to attack from the rear here. And pretty much everyone else is staying where they are. The centre, or this building, or the bastion almost, is holding strong, and they're going to pour some fire out in every direction. Right, so I'm going to move on to turn 2 shooting for the Blood Angels. Turn 2 shooting for the Blood Angels, and over right on this side of the battlefield among the trees, the Death Company there fired their bolt pistols into the cultists, killing 2 more of those off. Moving across, this squad fired their bolt pistols across the swamp into that squad, killing 3 of those off, which is, yeah, little bits here and there, not good. The tactical squad here fired into the cultists here, killing 6 of them off there, leaving just the champion standing among the bodies of his colleagues. Colleagues, if it's a job. The Sanguinor and the Chaplain there did nothing into there. The snipers tried their luck, fired down across the battlefield, straight into the Dark Apostle, having 1 wound, but of course he passed his save there, being protected by the gods. Over here, the Terminators took some heavy fire and definitely punished for last turn, losing 2 of their number, and this Terminator taken down to 1 wound. That was pretty much fired from almost everything here, except for the las cannons from the Devastator squad, which fired down over to the Mauler Fiend and taking him down to 6 wounds there. So a lot of fire, definitely a serious bit of damage handed out, but we will see what happens in the assault phase now for the Blood Angels. Turn to assault for the Blood Angels, and this squad charged into combat. 1 of them died to interrupt or intercept, I'm not too sure. And basically the rest of the Death Company just hammered the cultists and completely destroyed them. It was quite upsetting to watch. Across the battlefield, the Chaplain charged in, killed off 1 of the cultists, then the remaining Death Company there just, ripped apart the 2 cultists. They consolidate, move forward slightly towards that objective. Moving across the battlefield, Sanguinor and the Chaplain charged in, killed off 2 of the Warp Talons, but in the return attack, the Warp Talons were able to do 1 more wound onto the Sanguinor there. And I believe that was all the assaults. In the morale phase, the cultist champion here died, and down here as well, he died as well. So that is it. We're going to move on to turn 2 for the Word Bearers, see what they can do in return to this onslaught. Turn 2 movement for the Word Bearers, and a squad of Havocs here kind of spun round to put in some fire against the Death Company after hearing all the screams from the cultists. They decided to try and do something about that now. Also supported back here by the squad of Raptors that have come straight back into the Word Bearer deployment, maybe targeting Lamatis here. The cultists as well have swung round to put some auto gunshots in. Hopefully we can kind of thin their number out and kind of take the sting out of their tail a little bit. Across here, as this fight continues, the Vulture has now kind of jumped in behind, and we're going to do the honourable thing by smacking the Sanguinor across the back of the head. But we will see. Mauler Fiend crawling forward still towards that tactical squad to try and engage them. The Terminators have come in as well, and are going to be engaging that tactical squad. This squad have come in from reserve, hanging back here at the moment, and I've misplaced one of the guys. This guy go back here, and this guy go up there. 2 metal guns. There we go. So this squad, sorry, are back here. This squad here are pushed up forwards, and that is pretty much it on the movement front. We're going to move into shooting for the word bearers. Hope we can thin the numbers out before we make a charge. Turn to shooting for chaos. Right, the Havocs spun round, they fired plasmas and bolt guns. We keep treating this as area terrain here, and we kill one of the Death Company here. They're also joined here by the cultists firing away, not really hitting anyone unfortunately, so we're doing 1 damage here. Now, this squad of raptors had a simple job, a simple assassination job. They were going to kill Lamartis. After my previous experience, we know this guy is horrible. So I had 2 melter guns, 3 bolt pistols, all fired. That's what I rolled. Ah, there you go. So that's pretty much what's happened in this shooting phase. Over here, the Helldrake flamed into this chaplain. Originally we did 4 wounds to him, killing him off. Warrick decided to use command points and re-rolled it and got a 5 on his invulnerable save there. So he is sitting happy on 2 wounds still. Over here, the Mauler Fiend fires magma cutters into the tactical squad, killing off one of those. First time I've used it, I quite like it actually, it's quite nice. Helldrake fired up again, flamed into these guys, didn't do anything. Terminators and Raptors on the Blood Angel backfield, fired in here, taking a few casualties off to kill 1 on that squad, and I think we killed 1 or 2 on this squad here. So not much damage through shooting. We're going to move on to assault now, and hopefully the word bearers can press their slight advantage. Turn to assault for the word bearers. And over here, the cultists that charged in were quickly butchered by the Death Company. Yeah, not good. Didn't do anything back. Over here, this fight continues. Both parties not able to do anything to one another. So that's holding him in for now. Moving across here, the Vulture charged into Sanguinor. Sanguinor used an interrupt and did 2 wounds. No, did 3 wounds to the Vulture. The Vulture then fought back, did a couple of wounds onto the Sanguinor. Then Warwick decided to use the Chaplain against the Vulture and killed him off. The Warptan's not really able to do anything, unfortunately. Moving across the battlefield, we have, yeah, it's all changing over here. So the Terminators and the Lord charged into this squad, completely butchered them. They couldn't do anything in response. They are dead. Over here, 2 squads of Raptors charged in, causing casualties onto this Marine squad, pushing them back slightly, which was great. And over here, the Mauler Fiend charged in, killed off 3 in combat, and then decided enough was enough, and the Marines just took the last 4 wounds off in combat with relative ease, so he is now fallen. We're going to move on to turn 3 for the Blood Angels, and quite a lot has happened in only 2 turns. The casualties have mounted up, and for instance, all the cultists are gone. So 60 cultists are dead. And a lot of Raptors and Warptans are gone, and a lot of Marines are falling as well. So we're going to move on to turn 3 now for the Blood Angels and see what they can do over here. Turn 3 movement for the Blood Angels, and this tactical squads have been pushing up. It's now sitting on this objective. Safeties are definitely off at this point, and they're looking at the Dark Apostle there. Across here, Death Company have used their jump packs again to come up behind, and they're going to fire bolt pistols, I believe, into the Raptors, and then most probably charge into the Havocs. Sliding across here, we got the other Death Company squad and the Chaplain going against the Helldrake over on this flank. And I believe that is all the movement at the moment, so maybe a bit of shuffling around, but pretty much staying the same. Right, we're going to move on to turn 3 shooting for the Blood Angels, and let's see what they can do. Turn 3 shooting for the Blood Angels. So this squad here fired their pistols, killing off one of the Raptors in this squad, but leaving everyone else pretty much untouched. The Devastator squad here, he fired his last cannons into the Helldrakes. The bolters and bolt pistols fired down into the Terminators here, causing 1 wound on the Terminator with the Reaper autocannon, and taking the Helldrake here down to 7 wounds. Moving across, we had this tactical squad unleash a lot of firepower in there, taking the Dark Apostle just down to 3 wounds. And that was pretty much it. We had fire coming in as well over here. Didn't do anything. This squad here fired there, didn't do anything there. So kind of a mixed bag really, not a brilliant shooting phase, but a shooting phase nonetheless. So let's move on to turn 3 assault for the Blood Angels. And we're going to see some nasty assaults coming in. Turn 3 assault for the Blood Angels. Over here, not much has happened at all. Bit of a stalemate there. Moving across here, the Vulture has now fallen, and so have the Warp Talons. Oh, the Vulture went last turn. The Warp Talons are now gone as well. Unfortunately, so it frees up the Sanguinaur and the Chaplain. Moving across here, Dark Apostle is holding his own against them. Down here, the Word Bearers took a serious hammering from the Death Company when they charged in, but morale, being able to reroll their morale check really is coming quite helpful, and they are holding their ground quite happily at the moment. Over there, they charged in. The Helldrake killed off 1 in combat, and they haven't done anything back in response there. So a bit of a stalemate. We're going to move on now to turn 3 for the Word Bearers, and hopefully they can get some bloody revenge on the Blood Angels. Right, turn 3 movement for the Word Bearers. So the Raptors here jump forwards a little bit more as the Havocs have fallen back. So they're now able to shoot in and hopefully do some damage and save the Havocs for another turn. The Helldrake, which has been targeting the scouts for a while, has kind of flown over and now can see the Sanguinaur quite nicely. So hopefully we can try and assassinate him and get rid of him and avenge the fallen. Moving across the battlefield, we find ourselves down in this ruin again. We've got the Terminators aiming to do some damage to the Devastators. Terminator Lords coming in to aid the Raptors to clear the ground floor at least and get rid of them. And finally, over here, this Helldrake has escaped the Death Company and come across here. So leaving Death Company far behind over this part of the battlefield, leaving them that objective there. So I'm going to move on to turn 3 shooting, and hopefully we can take care of the Blood Angels. Turn 3 shooting for the Word Bearers. So the Terminators fired shots up into the ruins, not doing anything there. Devastators are holding their own. Bolt pistols went into this squad here, didn't do anything there. Moving across, we had a bit more luck here with the Helldrake. The Helldrake set the Sanguinaur aflame, just ashes covering the Chaplain. Over here, the bolt pistol from Dark Apostle killed off 1 more Marine. Melter guns and bolt pistols fired off. Melter guns killing off 1 of the Death Company there, reducing that squad to 5. We've also got the Chaplain, which is still a big threat. And that is it. We're going to move on to Assault, and we will see how that pans out. Turn 3 assault for the Word Bearers. So the Chaos Lord managed to charge in here, and with support of the Raptors here, they've taken that squad down to 2. The Terminators have just been hacking their way through this building, leaving the Devastator squad on 4 Marines. Everyone's holding their ground here. No casualties are taken on either side through morale. In fact, there was no Chaos casualties over here, so Chaos are doing quite well on this building. Moving across, we have got the Helldrake charged into the Chaplain. Took 1 wound off the Chaplain, and the Chaplain fought back but was able to get through the armour on the Helldrake. Over in the centre, the Dark Apostle took another wound and killed off another Marine. So he's holding out for now. I don't fancy his chances. And over here, the Raptors charged in, killed 1, and they lost 4. So the Raptor champion is just in there at the moment, trying to hold them back while the Havocs regroup. And that is it. We're going to move on turn 4 now for the Blood Angels, and it's getting pretty desperate stuff for both sides at the moment, I think. And for movement for the Blood Angels, and Chaplain and Death Company here, they've jumped onto the objective which is in this crater, trying to hold it for now until they come up with another threat. Over here, Lamartes has jumped onto the other side of the combat to avoid a barrage of plasma fire, which would definitely be the end of him. And that is pretty much it. Everyone is either locked in combat or they're in good firing positions. So we're going to move on now to turn 4 shooting for the Blood Angels. Turn 4 shooting for the Blood Angels, and the only real shooting except for bolt pistols were these guys here. 2 of the snipers could see him and were in range, and they fired their rifles down across the field to the Helldrake, which is about to engage their brothers. So that was it. No, nothing, unfortunately. Hit, didn't wound, and that is it. So we're going to move on to assault. And let's see what the Blood Angels are able to do to the Wordbearer forces. Right, so turn 4 assault for the Blood Angels, and it didn't go well on this building. Both the Devastator squad and Tactical squad were taken out. No casualties on the Wordbearer front, but yeah, the Blood Angels are gone. Moving across the battlefield, this fight continues. Both parties really unable to do much against the other one, but both locking each other in. Over here, the Raptor champion did quite well for himself. I think he inflicted 3 wounds, and they passed 3 saves, but of course he wasn't going to last against them, so he's fallen. Over here, the Dark Apostle is holding his own, down to 2 Marines now, and that is it for the assault. We're going to move on now to turn 4 for the Wordbearers, and see if they can kind of make the most of this. Turn 4 movement for the Wordbearers, and the Helldrake here has kind of just moved around slightly, getting closer to that objective, but also lining these guys up. Chaos Lord here in Terminator armor, he's edged forwards and hopefully going to get a charge off against those scouts. Terminators have reshuffled, basically secure the objective and put some fire into the scouts, which have been a bane throughout this game. They might not have done too much, but they're definitely a threat with 4 sniper rifles stuck up there. Over here, the Raptors that have been freed up now are coming in to aid the Dark Apostle and hopefully take out those 2 Marines. And finally, the Havocs are kind of moved around here, and we're going to try and shoot in there or shoot there, but there we go. We're going to move on to shooting, and let's see what we can do to them. Right, turn 4 shooting. So over here, 2 plasma guns overcharged and fired into Lamartes here. Failed 2 invulnerable saves, although Warrick has decided to use his last command point to re-roll it, and he passed, so he's down on 1 wound. These 2 here fired the plasmas in, knocking all but 1 out. The one with the hammer remains, and I think that was most, if not all, the damage. The only other damage we have was from the Helldrake that fired into the scouts down here and leaves just 3. And now the Chaos Lord's got a bit further to charge, but that's it. We're going to move on to assault now and see if we can kill a few more Blood Angels. Turn 4 assault for the Wordbearers, and the Lord has charged in here, killing off another couple of the scouts. Scouts fought back, causing 1 wound. The Chaos Lord there is Terminator armor protecting him here. Over here, the the Raptors flew in, killed off the 2 remaining tactical Marines there, and are consolidated, so they're kind of aiming towards that objective. Possibly, if I don't think it's going to happen now, they could have gone up towards the scouts. Over here, the Helldrake has killed off the Chaplain. At long last, he is now fallen. And that was it. Morale checks for different squads. Nobody fell. Everyone is too kind of hardened now to little things like that. So we're going to move on to turn 5 now for the Blood Angels and see what Warrick's got planned for them. Right, so myself and Warrick, we've been talking, and Warrick has basically decided enough's enough and called it a day, which is a very, very brave decision as well. He's fought a very good game, but like we both just said, there's no way, unfortunately, he can win, and what he could achieve in this turn wouldn't really change anything at all. I wouldn't score any more objectives. It would just be more life loss. And, you know, never mind. Let's not have that in the 41st millennium. So we've called it a day. Chaos are sitting happily on objectives. Most of the Blood Angels are sitting across the battlefield. It's securing that objective. And they're over there as well. They're not really going to affect anything. Even if they move and attempt an assault or shoot, then it's not going to change anything. So it's been a very, very good game. It's gone both ways. I hope you've all enjoyed watching this. Mr. Warrick, have you got a unit of the match or a model of the match?
Not really sure. If I look over here at the Fallen,
yeah.
I think it was a really sort of a team effort. I think the Death Company did well, like generally. They cut through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But then other than that, nothing particularly stood out. The Sanguinor was a bit disappointing. He didn't really distinguish himself, but I don't think he embarrassed himself either. It was kind of just, you know, a bit of me. Yeah, I think it was just sort of, no one particularly distinguished themselves. I don't think anyone did particularly bad either. Everyone was sort of quite mediocre for the Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Sort of did their job unspectacularly, and we wasn't enough in the end to get a draw or a win. So
yeah, so I mean the Death Company had, like we were saying a minute ago, a bit of bad luck failing their charges. I mean, 2 out of the 3 squads failed their charges on the first turn. Yeah. And I think, yeah, like I was saying, if they took out the Helldrakes or did enough damage to limit their movement, it would definitely have changed things. Helldrakes aren't as good as they used to be, but at the same time, they're still very fast units, and they're able to maneuver around the battlefield and engage units. For myself, it would probably be the Terminators, to be honest, or the Havocs. Terminators, because they came in, fair enough, they failed their first charge, but they took heavy casualties to start with, and then they just kind of came in and slowly hacked their way through and held the objective. So they're on the back foot to start with, but they've done well. So that's probably my unit of the match.
Yeah, I think if I had to, well, definitely Death Company, because if you look at what's left, the only sort of real sort of area of strength for the Blood Angels, you still got most of that squad and a chaplain still sitting defiantly on the objectives.
Yeah.
So, well, it's sort of been, it's not been a complete rout by any means, but that's the sort of the strongest thing we've got left. They've sort of, you know, they held us a line. Well, we're not that we're doing victory points because I've declared, but they, you know, got a line breaker for us. They got the objective.
Yeah,
they did well.
Yeah, definitely. They killed a fair few units, and it was very intimidating. I wasn't sending anything back that I had to use elsewhere. Cultists were just getting munched.
Yeah, I'll tell you who was good as well. That tactical squad that was sitting there.
Oh yeah,
they did well. They took out the Mauler Fiend on their own, and then they moved up, and then very nearly, like, I mean, they should have taken him out, basically.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
If they had done, they would be sitting here in quite a powerful position, snipers on Overwatch. You could have, you know.
Yeah, yeah. They used, say, the reason Dark Apostle's there because of a command reroll there. But, yeah, very fun game. Went both ways throughout. And I think just at the end there, a good turn from the word bearers flipped it round. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And also go and check Warrick's YouTube channel out, Commissar Warrick. There's some great stuff on there and some really big epic apocalypse games. So this is Dom from BlackToad Studios. Take care.